Hello, everyone, and welcome. Just coming in to do an evening live and a short evening live. But I want to talk a little bit about the moon, talk a little bit about the energy that's happening, uh, and and I can't remember what else it was, but there was something else. So, welcome for those watching the replay. I do want to speak as soon as I come on instead of just waiting. So, that's why we're here. For anyone who is new, my name's Corrie Thorne, the founder and creator of More Than Existing. So, hello. Hi, Paul. Welcome. Just waiting to see if I'm on both. I am broadcasting on Facebook and on YouTube at the same time. So, I can see I am on. Uh, I am on YouTube. Oh, and there's Carla. So I am on Facebook as well. So I am officially in both places where I need to be. So welcome. My lights are really bright. I'm like, I don't know why. Uh, so welcome to this evening's full moon energy as we're coming into a full moon. We have a full moon lunar eclipse that's happening. That's tomorrow. So I see a lot of people are doing a lot of ceremonial stuff. There's a lot of rituals. There's a lot of videos being recorded for it. There's a lot of like events that are happening for this full moon, for the lunar eclipse. For myself, I'm going to talk a little bit about that, but for what I feel this full moon needs, or what we need in this full moon, I will talk about as soon as we just let the room fill up with a little bit more people coming in. So, but while we are waiting, I want to talk about this is the other thing. So, hi, Wendy and Stacy. Hello, and Carlene and Tracy and Jenna and Kenzie. And I'm trying to hide my fingers because I got like two nails missing. um, so, if you are on my Instagram and you have been getting like requests to follow me, like friend requests, that is not me. We've made several posts about it. I know so many readers, so many celebrities, so many people that are just on social media have this happening to them. And this is like my third or fourth time that I've had this happening to me. I will never message you offering you readings, and offering you readings for a specific amount. Like that'll never happen. I'll never ever be doing that. I've never done it. I will never do it. Don't send anyone money that requests that. um, I do have my yearly forecast readings coming up, but I don't ask people. So only way to get appointments with me is to book directly on my website. Um, or to if you are if you have trouble in the bookings, then I help people book their appointments, but I don't send out messages. So please do not send money to these people. It is constantly, it is so hard on our psyche to have this happening to us and to feel so vulnerable and so exposed, and that we don't have protection, that there is no protection against that it is taken down. Instagram has gotten better about taking it down. So if you've gotten a request, delete, and you accepted it, delete it. Because what they do is they literally get into yours. And then when they're into yours, they will find other people you follow and they will start spamming them. Um, so if you have a business Instagram page and you think all of a sudden that everybody who's really famous is starting to follow you, they're not. And if you can actually go up into the three little dots on the side and you can see about the account, and you'll see where the account was made. Most times it's coming from like Nigeria, places like that. That's where, and it says made today, made yesterday, made 2 weeks ago, wherever it is. So it's like one day I had like one of the big celebrities like all of a sudden follow me, and I'm like, yeah, no. And instantly it checked it, and that's what it was. So be aware, be careful. No matter what, if you're getting a message from anyone who's offering you that, really truly use discernment. Think about it. How often do you have me personally contacting you? It doesn't happen, right? And because I wouldn't do that to people. Um and I don't spam people. So report it, block it, yes, and that's the best thing that you can do. And enough people start annoying Instagram, that way they will start to make those changes. So that's the first thing that I wanted to talk about. Because I do know that some people have been exposed to it and have fallen victim to it, and it just hurts my heart, but it's out of my control. It has nothing to do with me, and I am fully blocked. So we cannot see any of us that this happens to. We're blocked. um So Sean Leonard just had it happen. He just posted. Um, John Holland just had it posted as well, like a little while ago. It happens to everyone, but we cannot see them. We don't know they're out there. They block us instantly. So we need you guys to do that for us. So yeah. So thank you to everyone who's doing it. Don't respond to it, but don't if you happen to have accepted it, delete it right away. So I only have one official professional page on Instagram, and then I have one personal page, and I don't use that personal page. I share stories on there for my family, and that's it. And um, so yeah. So just know that. So yeah, Destiny, I'm only here for a few minutes too. So hi everyone, hi Kristen and Leanne and Teresa and Geraldine and Candice, hello, and Tracy and Sherry, hello. So welcome. So tonight we're in the energy of the full moon that is entering in, coming in full mode tomorrow, early tomorrow morning. I think it's like 6 a.m. or something like around our time, somewhere around there, 5:30, 6 a.m. I think it's when the big parts of the lunar eclipse that's happening. So we have a lunar eclipse that's happening with the full moon energy that's in Taurus. So we have how is it goes? It is kind of like, I think it's like the sun is in Taurus and the moon's in Scorpio or something like that. I did look that up because I'm not an astrologer. Um and so I couldn't remember, but it was something like that. And so, but it's so what it's the people that are really impacted and affected by this moon are people who have a lot of Scorpio in your chart if you're in your natal chart. So if you have a lot of Scorpio in your natal chart, you're probably getting slammed with some of this emotions. If you have a lot of Taurus, you're getting affected. You may be affected by it. And a lot of Aquarius and a lot of Leo. So it ties into like the sun, the sun, the moon, and the ascending, or no, the north node. So it's tying into a lot of that energy. And I'm getting whammed, like double whammied with all of this energy as well. So my suggestion, and what's really truly has been coming through all day, because I've gone back and forth on whether I'm going to do a full moon meditation, a healing circle, and I just don't. 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, you may all of a sudden see me pop on and go, hey, who wants to join me? But I'm not feeling it. Um, I do feel like what this moon feels like and what this energy right now feels like to me, it feels like a deep need for a self reflection. So as that lunar eclipse, as the sky turns red, it's just like that early morning redness, that sense of that moon being, eclipse joining together. It feels to me as if it's hugging us and just saying, you know what? No matter where you have been, no matter what you have been through, you are loved. You are love. And I know your emotions are really, truly probably in overdrive. I know that. But this is something for us to sit with within ourselves. So, in my last live, you've heard me speak about my personal little experiences with some resentment that was coming up. And I emotionally got hit really hard this weekend, and I've cried like I have never cried, I don't think, in my life. I'm a Taurus moon, definitely feeling it. Yes, right, Lindsay? You're a Taurus moon. You're feeling it. I am a I'm a Cancer moon, but I'm a Scorpio ascendant. So my ascending is Scorpio. So I'm here to rise into being a little more Scorpio. And I struggle with that sometimes. That's a hard one for me. And so really knowing your natal chart really will help you be able to understand, especially if you're sensitive to energy, that what is happening when these cycles are going through, when we're in transits, when you have transits happening, when you have these cycles that are happening, when we have eclipses, when we have, through the moon cycles. And it's not that the energy is doing it to you, is that it's responding to the energy that you are feeling and that you may be denying within yourself. So you may be suppressing it. You may be trying to avoid having to deal with it. And the energy just kind of circles around it and just says, I am here, right? I am here. I'm within you. I know I'm here. You're avoiding me. You don't want to talk to me. You don't want to deal with it. But it's here. and it keeps showing up as attitudes, right? It seeps out of us. So our own things that we think are not impacting or affecting us has an impact and effect on us, on how we respond to our own world, how we show up in the world, how we're responding to our own energy or to the energy of others. Right? You may get snappy, you may be quick tempered, you may have no patience, you may identify yourself as saying, I've never had patience, or uh, I've never been uh, I've never been compassionate, or I've never been huggy, or I've never been affectionate. All of those things that we say, I've never been, is not that it is who and what you are, is what you became, right? It's that defense mechanisms, is what we numb ourselves from. So the moon, and especially in the full moon, the new moon energy that we had, the new moon energy that was here prior to this, and this has been the cycle now coming into this, has been like a leeway, or an arcing energy that's arcing and moving us and shifting us into a shift within ourselves, kind of pushing out. It is like I'm going to say this, and this is going to sound gross, but one of those pimples that festers and then explodes? That's it. So sometimes you need that explosion of energy, which is like a cry or a big release, to finally let things go and to release that from yourself. And so that energy is where we are, and that's what we do have happening around us. So that's where we are. So my suggestions, and what I've been suggesting for this full moon energy, is to truly, honestly give yourself, kind of make a commitment to yourself to get up early tomorrow morning and sit in silence. Because here's the thing, everyone is talking, everyone has an opinion, everybody has knowledge all knowledge comes from opinions and views and perspectives, right? That's where knowledge comes from. And so everyone is sharing their knowledge, or what they have learned and what they've understood about things, and sharing their personal experiences. And I would say, I can't tell people what to do. I can share stories and just guide people through what I've been through, and then you get to choose what you're going to do, right? And so, but sitting, because there's been so much noise, and because there is so much noise, and because the first thing we often do when we wake up is pick up our phone, or we check the time, we check the news, we check our messages, we check on everything else in the house. You might have to feed the dogs, the children, everything in the house, the cats, the fish, before you feed you. So before you get one moment to take that first breath that is yours and yours only, you've already, activated and triggered every single response within you. Your nervous system is now in overdrive. Your brain has shifted gears. It is in a different mindset. It's in the mindset of go, 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 do, right? It's active now. But if you wake up really early tomorrow morning, pull out your journal, get a pen, sit down, sit upstairs in your bedroom, or sit downstairs somewhere where it is quiet. And I mean early. I mean that 5:30, 6 o'clock, and it's not crazy. I'm up that time all the time. Get up really early and just sit there and sit in that shift as that eclipse energy passes through, as we feel the energy of from night till morning coming in, as we feel that shift. And as we feel that shift, just allowing yourself to really sit with your own self, because sitting in silence, truly, with absolutely nothing on, no music, no nothing. And so sitting in silence, and you just sit there. And when you're just sitting there, what you're doing is that you are truly, I just lost my train of thought. What you're doing is you're sitting at a space where you're opening up to allow in wisdom, to allow in wisdom, to allow in untainted wisdom to come in from that sense of the divine. It's the whispers. And we can't hear the whispers when our bodies are screaming. when the world is screaming, when noise is distracting us, when there's so much happening. And it's in that moment of just being quiet and just take your pen and just sit down and just ask yourself, what do I need to know? What do I need to know today about moving forward or whatever it may be? Don't even you don't have to add anything else. Don't add too much, and don't ask too much, and don't let your thoughts create the message. That's the key. Because in silence, when we're sitting there in that morning, is that there is an opportunity for you to possibilities that you don't even think of. It opens up the space to move beyond even, even your biggest of dreams may not be big enough, right? Even that biggest of inspiration that you may have may not be big enough. And so when you wake in the morning, you get up that early. And yes, you can do it, Lindsay. You can go back to bed, but just get up and just do it. And so what you do is we limit ourselves to I can't, I'm not going to, I don't want to, because that's a rebellion, right? That's the rebellion energy within that you you had me till you said 5 a.m. Right. And it's like that's the rebellion energy. And so it's the same thing with the things that you say, like, I'm impatient. You know, I can't stay committed to anything like that we tell ourselves that I is, that I that you think you've became are all the things that that you become out of creation, out of necessity, out of survival, out of all of those things that are kind of hiding that hold us back. And so there is, I checked the time and the coffee pot. Yeah, and so you can't even get a cup of coffee because the coffee then stimulates, right? So it wakes you up. And we don't want you to be awake. We want you to still be in the dream state. We want you to be half awake, half asleep. So so you're in spirit world, you're in dream state and you're here so that you can be in the sense of allowing spirit to bring us into a dream state of imagining. And the big thing I really truly got out of my weekend of doing this work for myself was I really realized that, when I'm going through difficult times in my life, that I have never, ever, ever, and I mean ever, that as long as I could remember, when I am hurt, I don't let anyone hold me for me to fall. So you know how you just break down, you just have that breakdown fall. When I get into that state, I remember the statement that was always said to me, but you're the strong one, but you're the dependable one, but you're the reliable one. You're the one that we can all go to. So I instantly returned to her and I allowed that energy within myself to hold me. Well, I'm sick of that energy. I'm sick of that self sometimes. And I want to allow myself to be softer. And of course there was a lot more to it, but some things are very private to that. But in that moment, and that's what these moments do, so that you can feel through and evolve your emotions, right? You can evolve from one emotional state so you can change the mindset. So the mindset can shift. The moon didn't trigger your emotions. The moon didn't cause your emotions to be the way they are. They didn't bring that up. It's because there is such a shift and because there's such a change in the energy, is that what we are feeling within us it's shining a light upon it. So it's being amplified, right? We are feeling it more. So we're feeling more of what we need to be able to face, to look at within ourselves. So tomorrow morning, if you can do it, I highly suggest you do. It does really help. Get up early. Take a journal, piece of paper. I don't put it out tonight, whatever it is. And even if you don't get out of bed, just sit up in the bed, take the journal and a pen and write down, what do I need to know? And the other one that I use every day, and I got this in one of my automatic writing classes, and I use it constantly. I've never not used it, is what is my one purpose today? What is my purpose today? not 10, one. And it's sometimes it sounds very weird and very odd, but it's amazing what it can do for you. So that's our energy, and that's what I'm that's my suggestion for this moon is truly recognize. And my defiance has been in overdrive. I will attempt this. Yes, please do, Lindsay. Stop being a rebel. um, Today I was in total defiance. Like I'm not doing that. And then it was stormy, and I had a doctor's appointment, which is like 50 minutes away and where I used to live. And I'm like, F it, I'm going. I can do this. You know what? I always used to drive in all kinds of weather, and I can do this. And I got all showered up and got dressed, and of course my truck is parked in the garage. So I'm like, I get in my truck and I get out to the highway, and I just get on the highway, and I just hear the whisper. Why? That was the whisper. Why? What have you got left to prove? What do you have left to prove? Stop trying to prove yourself. And I went, whoa. And then I had no other choice but find the next exit back into Lacombe again. So I had to drive out so far. And I realized I'm not as courageous on the highway as I used to be, because I am more aware of life and the value of life, and that why do unnecessary risk if I don't have to? And so, why do something I don't have to? I learned that from Donkey Spirit. Just because I can doesn't mean I have to. And I share these stories so that you can put it into your perspective. Like, bring that into yourself. How many things do you kind of keep pushing yourself to do, or you hear that voice says, maybe you should not do that today, but you freaking got to do it anyway, right? You just keep pushing to do it. And I'm like, but why? What have you got left to prove? And I got nothing left to prove, right? Nothing. And so on this weekend, and one of the things that was also one of the things that was coming up was we're watching like the not the Yellowstone, but the show before the Yellowstone with Faith Hill and her husband in it. And so we're watching it, and the chef, he wouldn't know, he's the cook. He was the cook who was in the wagon, and he was cooking a pig. And I'm born the year of the pig, right? And he's talking about the pig, and he's like, something about eating pig. And he's like, oh no, they're cooking deer. And he says, why are you eating deer instead of pig? And the cook says to the kids, he says, because you are what you eat. You are what you eat. And a deer eats grass. And so a deer eats like grass, and a pig eats slop and dirt, and all of these things. And so he's like, and this was of course back in the day. And so he's like, you are what you eat. And that, and I, it just, and it, something hit me with that statement. And, and I was then in the grocery store the next day with my partner. And I just said, and I went to put my hand on something, on a food item in the store. And we're looking at like some Chinese food stuff, and I'm like, oh, that looks so good. And it did. And then I moved my hand down to the next aisle of stuff. And whatever it was like processed food, the next aisle down. And the minute I laid my hand on it, I heard, are you done feeding yourself garbage? And we don't just mean food. We mean thoughts. We mean words. Are you done feeding? You are what you eat. You eat those words, you eat those thoughts, right? You inhale it, you absorb it, you take it on. And so those moments and those little whispers you cannot hear when you are constantly yelling, screaming, when you're in the rush and you're like, oh my God, I just need this and I got to get that and I got to get this done. And you're already so ahead of yourself, and you're walking through the grocery store or you're wherever. You can hear those when you're present. And you got to be present in your moment to be able to hear those, to capture those moments and those experiences. And when you get those messages, you may have gotten them before and you didn't hear them. And you may get some of these messages from me and then not hear them. And then you hear me say it again, or you hear yourself say it, or you hear the whisper, you hear that whisper say it, and it just hits, and you get it. And you get it. And when you get it, you can't unget it. Something shifts inside of us. And that is where the the kind of like this, the ultimate surrenders come in. And that's where we give it over. That's where we surrender it over. And we think, you know what? I'm not strong enough to beat this, this sense of the darkness or my own shadow, but you are. The divine is. The divine is. And there's a divine presence that is connected to us in the ether, in that energetic field that we are connected to, because we are this big. We're not just this, we're this big. And it connects into there. And when that connects to us, and when we connect to it, when we remember that we're connected to that, it can help us move the mountains out of the way, to move those narratives and those stories out of the way. I, in the last couple of years, have given up white wine, have given up, most alcohol altogether. I occasionally have a drink, but never touched white wine again. And white wine is my favorite. Coffee. I've given up coffee. And I don't even like the taste anymore. And all I heard was a whisper that said, you will never drink it again. Not yet. Anyway, you'll never drink it. You won't like it no more. And my love of it was gone. And that's, it's not that it's that simple. But what is simple is the choice to say that I'm going to make this time to commit to me, to know that I am not all those things that I tell myself, because all those things that I tell myself are all the things that keeps me away from me. And all those things that you keep telling yourself will always keep you away from you. Always. And they keep you away from the truest version of you, from the self that we keep running from, because we run from the goodness, we run from the light, we run from beautiful things. It's like going into relationships. You don't want the nice one, you want the bad boy. You want the bad girl, right? You want the one that's going to test and challenge you most. And why? It's because you choose the mirror reflections of the things that you think about yourself, that you feel about yourself. And so you choose those things. And we make the choices to move and shift into a new way of being. Yeah, that's what we do. And so that's the message I got for you all. And I am going to pull a card for you for it from the Priestess of the Light, and then from the Everyday Goddess as well to go with this. And I'm overheating, so I know this. I know you can see me overheating. When I start heating up like this is the healer. So this is definitely healing energy tonight. This is me stepping into my healer energy. So when I'm working as a healer, for anyone who don't know what I do, I am not just psychic medium. I mean, that's a huge part of what I do. But I am a spiritual teacher healer. I work in healing energy. I do a lot of healing work. I do a lot of helping people in healing sessions and stuff like that as well, to be able to help them move and shift energy, to be able to move beyond. And that teddy bear you see over in the corner over there, that's Jezebel. And I did not name her. She had her name before I got her. And so she's often used for doing some distance healing, and I place her out and she becomes the person, right? And so, and of course, I'm also a past life healer, and I'm a mystic. I'm a mystic, and I work in prophecy work as well. And I am a channel. I am a channel, and I'm also a writer. And so I just started writing another book again, and I'll talk a little bit about that. Thank you for the healing migraine all day. Oh, Lindsay, you don't have a migraine, right? Well, you may have migraine. I'm not saying you don't have a migraine. You're in the, there's a lot of pressure shifts and changes that's happening. You are in the film, you're feeling the energy, but you've got so much constraints and you're hold on so tight that, you're afraid to let yourself be liberated from some of that suffering. You're afraid to let go of the control. Just saying. All right. So the card, they won't stop. And I'm also a life coach, life and business coach, and angelic life coach. I am an angelic, professionally trained angelic life coach, and a angel card reader, advanced angel card reader. All of those things I did so many years ago. And the reason why I'm bringing them up is because I'm laughing because I started to remember so many things that I have done over the years that I have so forgotten about. So this energy will also have you remembering things about that you have done, the things that you have done in your life. And I always say, find those things that you've done and see the things that you've really succeeded at, the things that you've done, in your life, because you forget. It's funny how we so easily remember all the bad things we do, or all the shitty things, or all the not great things that have happened to us, but it's so hard to remember the good. It's so hard to remember what you've accomplished, what you've succeeded at. I want you to really start digging those, really start to acknowledge them when you feel them, so you can start to remember them. Yeah, it's okay to not be the tough guy all the time. Yeah, and I'm not very tough, but I'm a very determined person. I felt fear tonight, but I don't know where it came from. But I did let it stop me from doing what I needed to do, grocery shopping. Then it left quickly. I'm still needing to work through this. Yes. Okay, so Destiny. So maybe if you expand beyond the fear, maybe it wasn't fear. Maybe there was fear, don't get me wrong, but what's deeper than the fear? What were you feeling? What else were you feeling in that moment? Were you feeling exhaustion? Now, I want you to think about this, Destiny. Were you feeling possibly something like exhaustion? Maybe the body was trying to tell you that it didn't have the energy to do that today. We just have a limited vocabulary to describe what we're feeling sometimes. And because the nervous system can't separate what that is, and we have a limited to it, right? A tad bit. So maybe there was something more, or your body was just, or the energy was just saying, don't go in there today. Go another day, go another direction. And sometimes, I really trust those things. And now I know they're not always fear. It feels like fear, but it's not always fear. It's because I'm not in the energy I need to be, or I'm feeling other energies around, right? And so, sometimes what we are existing in is because we are feeling and absorbing all that exists around, all the energy that's around, all that we feel around us. And so, um, you're welcome, Tracy. Tenderness. And see, if there's the giraffe, and the giraffe, stretching our neck out, putting our neck out there, putting ourselves out there, and putting ourselves out there for ourselves to experience life, to be afraid to live, to not to be afraid of life, to be aware of the things that are false acronym. Fear is false evidence appearing real. The acronym for fear, false evidence appearing real. So it's the past being reenacted through an emotional response, a memory, right? That we are feeling again. And then we're like, oh, I can't do this. And so true love, and the true love that this card will speak of, is the true love that we feel for not denying ourselves the opportunity to live, not just exist, right? Not to just exist in our stories, not just to exist in things in our life, like not just to exist in our fear stories or in the past, but to really know that we are greater than our suffering. We are more than our suffering, we're more than our misery. And when we can live beyond that, right? To be so tall yet so humble. Yes, exactly, right? And to be able to be so big out there, right? And so how does a giraffe hide? A giraffe can never hide, right? A giraffe can never hide. Where does a giraffe hide? A giraffe is almost impossible for a giraffe to hide. It's always exposed, it's always out there. And so it's easy for us to be able to hide. It's easy for us to be able to hide behind our stories, our narratives. It's easy for us to be hide behind our fears. It's easy enough for us to be able to tell ourselves any story and exist in it, or for someone else to tell any story and for us to, to fall victim to playing the narrative, playing out the role that somebody else places us in, right? To let fear override us. And so true love, compassion, when you learn to have compassion for yourself, compassion for you, you start to care about living, you start to care about, what there possibly could be for you to find out. When you start to care that you come out of being so restricted and restricting yourself and being so exhausted, you start to think, oh, well, I don't want to feel this way. Well, what do you want? Right? I don't want this in me. I don't want to feel this way. Well, what do you want to feel? And most people's response to that for me is, I don't know. Well, I think I'd love to feel peace. Well, what is peace? Right? What is peace? When I ask somebody, well, what is peace? I'm like, I don't know. I've never had it. Well, how are you going to know when you got it? If you don't know the feeling of peace, how are you going to know? If you don't know love, how are you going to know? So first you have to find it. So first you got to make peace with where you've been. And first you have to come into a relationship with you to come into a deeper understanding of what love is, right? You can be in relationship, you can be surrounded by people, but if you've never existed in that energetic sense of love, because love is not, how do I put this without, you know love love is not that sense of, oh, I got your back, right? It's like, oh, we'll stay together because it's convenient. Or what did you love about a person? Oh, I just love their eyes. No, you were attracted. There's an attraction, right? And so we overuse eyes. What did you love about that person when you met them? Oh, I just loved their personality. Well, who did you meet? They presented you on a platter what they wanted you to meet, right? And so that sense of falling in love is we are attracted. We get drawn, a magnetic pull. But that sense of love is something, it is so hard to explain love, because when you step into setting yourself free of everything that holds you hostage, there's love in there. You know that cry that you have, that fall apart cry, and it feel like there's love in there. But love doesn't hurt per se by somebody hurting you, loving you. Like there's so many energies and so many ways to put that. And I'm like, I'm trying to be very gentle with it. But and I'm not very gentle. So in my work, if I'm working with you, it's not gentle. I'm sorry, but I'm not gentle. Um but when we're going through missing somebody so very much that it hurts, I mean, we feel the sense of that loss by because we love so much, right? We had that energetic connection, that tie that binds. And love can be very forgiving, right? But love can also, the feeling of love can move mountains. And that's the divine energy that I'm speaking of. So when you care enough about yourself, you care enough about you living that life, is that you are willing to finally move beyond to make the changes that we need to make. Right? It's surrender to emotions. So depends on what emotion you're surrendering to, Lindsay. Love does contain surrender, but love is action, right? Love is in action. Sometimes it's really hard to do the right things for the right reason, but we do it because we deeply care. So some of those great volunteers out there that do everything for the absolute right reasons, that comes from the heart, right? Love comes from the heart and requires nothing back. Love requires nothing back. There's no motive behind love. Love has no motive. It's not because you even want a gain or you want anything out of. Love has no motive. Love just is. And so there's much energy that goes with it. And so true love, true compassion is to first find out who you truly are loving and what you're truly loving. Because when you are existing in all of that you present to the world, and then that's, that is not really always our truth. So first you got to find that. You got to care enough to fall in love with finding you. And so when you care enough to fall in love with finding you, the first thing you do is break up with you. You break up with the you that you've been existing in and pushing through, and you just find a way to find that new energy in. So that's our first card. And I'm like, and I just feel like with that tenderness, with that gentleness, I could feel the softness coming, and I could feel myself, like my whole body starting to calm, starting to relax. And there is. So it's like no matter how much we are, when we let ourselves be out there in the world because it just feels right, because it's just a place that we know, and we can bypass our fear stories, when we can move beyond that, there's love in that. There's love in there. So when you can override fear, like the false acronym of fear, there is love in there. Or when you can say, this is not really fear, this is me not having the energy today. You start to love those parts of ourselves. We start to say, I'm worth taking myself home to refill my tank. Okay. And then we have the divine masculine, which is, when we're talking about love, here we go, right? We all have a feminine and a masculine energy. We all have that exists in us. And this divine is, electric, the active power, right? This is about action. It is about movement. It's about shift. And so love is compassion and action. When you think of love, love is compassion and action. And so when you're really passionate about something, is when you get that passion, like I truly can say, I love doing what I do. I love this part. I love this part of my work, connecting to the divine, being present with it. And when I don't feel that love, I don't show up. When I don't feel that, right? And so that push. And so there is a part of it. And it's funny because we have a 9 and an 8. So we have that, the power of the 4s or the 2s. We have the power of the 3s. And so we do have a lot of powerful divine energy that's in here, that's coming up for us. So yeah. And hello, everyone else who's joining. And so then our final card, I'm laughing because I just have so many things that I'm hearing that are coming in, and I'm telling them, we can't go there tonight. We can't do that tonight. And they're just like, yeah, we can. No, we can't. And so we have the medicine woman that just fell out, and I have given her a name change. So this is 21. This is the medicine woman, and her name is Ruthie. And for many reasons, she got a name change, but she's become Ruthie. And so Ruthie, it's not that Ruthie is ruthless, because it's not to be ruthless, but she is rooted. She is rooted. She is grounded. She knows where she comes from. She knows her truth. She knows her divine presence. She knows her connection to the feminine. She knows her connection to her masculine. She is very much out there, even though she travels to the depths of the darkness. The medicine woman knows the power of doing the dark night of the soul journeys, of that. In order to be able to find our treasures, we sometimes have to dig very deep, and that we can't neglect the journey of digging deep. Or you can go your whole life. Not everybody's here to dig deep. Some people are here to surface live, and that's okay. That you don't judge that. That's not something that go, oh, I can't believe you've never taken a dark night to soul journey. I'm telling everybody, don't freaking go there. It is like painful and it hurts, but it's well worth it. It's like childbirth, but this, to live connected to your human body and to yourself, to know the power of your human, is so important. And when you can learn to communicate to your own physical body and learn to listen to it and respond to its truth, and not to just that feeling of, oh my God, this is fear, or oh my God, this is anxiety. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's something more, right? Maybe there's something more that's happening. When you can expand your emotions, when you can evolve the emotions, and you can truly expand out, and what am I really feeling? What am I really wanting? What am I really needing? What do I really mean? Right? And so the medicine woman is about really truly getting to the root of it and being rooted and grounded and being able to walk into your truth and into your light and have the confidence to not to be afraid to put your neck out there. You don't have to be tough. You don't have to be always in this big, strong warrior, defensive energy. Soft, gentle, being tender. The most loving thing that we got, that we exist in, is when we can be that soft and tender and gentle within ourselves and to ourselves. Our other card is unity. And so unity is she is the master key number. She is 11. And this is one thread joins us all. So we are all of oneness. We all come from one source. We come from one light. We come from one ball of energy. We all come from the one, the oneness. We are all the one, right? And so when people ask me about, talking about the chosen one, I'm like, we're all a chosen one. It's when you say yes to you. When you say yes, and then you don't know the desire, you don't know the outcome, but you just know the power that can move the mountains for us, that's saying yes, right? There's a choice to choose. And so when we feel like we are disconnected or that we move beyond, we're so tempted, right? That, I got somebody else, and nobody else knows how I feel. Nobody else has ever gone through this. I can guarantee you somebody else has felt it. Somebody else has been through it, but nobody else has lived in your story. Nobody else has existed in your story. You have. You have that authentic truth to where you've been, right? And to your own story. So if it's your story, then you also have the right to change your story. You can also be the master creator or the master manipulator of your own energy. And so you get the choice to choose to rewrite it, to do it again, to do what you need to do. And that's the energy that's coming up for us. And this moon is just saying, there's so many opportunities in this. There's so many possibilities. This is not like the doomsday energy. This is not like the be all end all. You hear a lot of things that are out there, and there's a lot of things about a lot of negative things that get caught up out there. And we can't, there's reality, and we can't hide from negativity, but we can be at peace and know that there's many things that are out of our control and we can't change. And so, but what am I in control of? Where can I have an impact? And so we all have a healer within us. We all have a life coach. We all have a guru. We all have all of that exists within us. And it's up to us to choose to how we're going to use that and how we're going to move that within our own lives. All right. See, I wasn't staying long, and it's an hour again because, once the channel starts talking. All right. So let me just quickly just look back. Kelly, who are you saying happy birthday to? It's not my birthday. It was my sister-in-law's birthday today, not mine. I'm too lazy to listen to the gloom and doom. I love that, Lindsay. Yeah. And if you do want to take part in an event on the 11th, Lisa has an event that's happening, a Divine Goddess Within Healing that's happening in the academy as well. Michelle just started the class tonight, the Awakening the Dream Realm, and she just started that tonight. So I think you can still get in. You would just have to listen to the recording of this one. I think you just record it, but there is 3 more classes to there. Oh, she's saying happy birthday to you. I'm like, I didn't see anything, Felicia. And I mean, she's my relative, so I know. Happy birthday, Felicia. Happy birthday. A lot of people got I have a lot of people in my life that have birthdays in these next few days. Okay, so one last card. Let's end this. Let's end this one. And, I'm really feeling to go to Mary Magdalene. I'm really going to I'm going there. I'm going to go to the mystics of Mary Magdalene. As I just dropped, hold on, guys. I got to get on the floor to get these. Ugh. Okay. So I just dropped half the deck. I was so happy to just listen, and I was totally inspired to write a few good pages of allowance. Yay, that's good. Yeah, allowance. I like that. So let's just see what the the Mystics of Magdalene has to say. Ooh, I have not yet seen this card come out. This is a first. Magdal Elder. Listen to elder wisdom, which was exactly what I spoke of when we first came in. Listening to elder wisdom. And that is, when we truly get rooted and grounded, when you can get up in those early mornings. So it's not always about, our elder wisdom comes also from, it comes from the divine, it comes from the ancestral lines, it comes from so many places. And for me, I often know as I channel through the God energy, I channel through Jesus, Mary Magdalene, Mother Mary, the divine, the Palladians, Lumerian, whoever wants to talk, right? Dolores Cannon, um, um, Einstein. I have channeled Einstein. All of those things that really truly just takes you to that place. But there's a whole wealth of wisdom out there that can bring forth some powerful information. And so this card, yeah, listening to me. Yeah. And so I am officially an elder. Okay. And I want to show one last thing. As we're speaking about elder energy, is so this is a future card. This is a future card somehow. And so I painted the background of this back probably about a month ago. And she has been sitting and sitting and sitting. And yeah, I'm not a writer, I'm not a painter. Um, and there was nothing to go on there. And for so long, I have been saying, I don't feel any passion to paint. There's nothing coming. I don't feel anything. I'm not getting anything. It's a blank canvas. Like I just painted that background, and I painted that when I was really freaking angry. And a right to be angry, because there's so many things out there that have been robbed from me, from the federal government and my band taking away my federal treaty card, and having that ripped away from me. Um when they did that, took so many opportunities for me to exist and um to exist in. Hold on. That's my husband. And so this this painting, what the background was that. So when this I about 2 nights ago, 3 nights ago, I was just getting in bed and I just heard, "Come paint me." Of course, my new favorite is painted out of anger. Yeah, of course, right, Lindsay? And so the second part is not, though. So then all of a sudden, I was getting in bed and I heard, "Paint me now, Corrie. Paint me. Bring me to life." And I started to move the red paint, and then I noticed black was going in and yellow, and then the sun. And she's going towards the sun. And it's as if everything is blowing away from her. And what I heard was, you are healed. You are cleansed. Like, let it go. Let it all go. Just trust us, because ultimately you don't need you don't need that. That's not who you are. You need to just know you are free. You are free. And just you are freed. And so all of that information and all that started to channel through. So that's, when I'm talking about sitting up and letting yourself write, letting yourself, like, let your words come out, let your feelings and your emotions come out on paper in the early morning. Let yourself be hugged. Let yourself be wrapped in the love. That beautiful elder energy, that beautiful divine creator, that beautiful place creates such beauty from our pain, from our chaos, from our hurts, from that place. And we are the masterpieces. We are blank canvases. We get to write the chapters. We get to write the books. We get to write it in the life that we choose to live. Not that we're going to write books and paint, but the biggest thing, and this is one of the things that's written in my third book, or it might be in that book, I don't remember, but I write, you are the bookmark. And where you are laid, that's your invocation. Where that bookmark lands, that's where you belong. And that's where your most powerful existence is. So in the creating of this is that as she started to dry, she's not finished, but as she started to dry, I noticed she's got like a little bit of a, different colors in skin tone. And then there's this white that trails down her cheek and trails down her face, right? And it's like, I'm not crying and I'm not apologetic and I am not sad that I am blended and that I am blended in diversity and love. And I'm not sad that I had the courage to leave, my home and travel and live 4,000 kilometers away. If I had not have existed in all the things of the past, I would not be who I am today. So how do I identify myself? I am blended in diversity and love. And that's how I identify. That's how I live. I'm blended in diversity and love. So this is the first painting that I literally wrote on the back. So this is your last card. She is not who they say she is. She is not who they think she is. She is so much more. Oh, will they be so disappointed when they can no longer feed off her power? She is divinely blended in diversity and love. She is divinely dignified. She is divine. Much love, Corrie. And that is whether you're masculine, whether you're feminine, no matter what you are, that's the power that's within us. Miracles happen when we take action to start to step into grace, to surrender over, to give space, to allow space within ourselves. That's okay for us to let things empty out, to be free of those, and to let it all blow away. When it all blows away, what's left? Truth. What's left? Love. What's left? You. The truest version of you. And when that comes in, it's amazing what can happen in our lives. And so I don't know what else there is yet, right? But that's where we are. And so that's my suggestion for you for this full moon energy, for this lunar eclipse, to just let it just wrap around you. Just let yourself be in the love. Let yourself be in that. And you don't have to be in all the rest. You're not the world. You're not what's happening in the world. You exist in a world, and there's a world that's happening around us, but we're so much more. And love will change the world. One person at a time. That's what we're here to do. That's what we're here to do. So thank you. And hello to everyone I didn't get to say hello to. Sherry, so nice to have you here. I was actually just reading something belonged to you before I came in. Is she covered in a shawl? She was kind of wearing a cloak. Yeah, that was kind of, it's like, I thought she was going to be wearing like a red dress. And then no, the red dress just spread out and she's just done. So I don't know what else goes on the card, but that's what she got so far. And they will all be eventually, all those paintings are chapters of a book, because that was the whole Paint Me Beautiful series that I now have a copyright and preparing to create something out of. So not tonight, I wasn't doing readings, but yeah. So thank you all. I'm trying to get, no, I didn't do no read. I did a big collective message. Go back in. If you've missed it, go back, listen to the whole collective message. It's for the full moon, for the lunar eclipse, all that energy that's happening. Remember, you are extra being affected emotionally, probably if you have a lot of Taurus in your natal chart, if you have a lot of Leo, if you have a lot of Scorpio, if you have a lot of Aquarius. There's a lot of impacts in there. So much love. Mwah. And I will see you all soon. Bye-bye.